All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're taking a closer look at some pretty fascinating figures from ancient Mesopotamia.
Ooh, Mesopotamian mythology.
That's right, we're talking about the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki. Those guys are
They really are.
shrouded in so much
Yeah.
mystery.
Exactly. And we're going to be unpacking their origins, their roles in these ancient myths, and why people are still fascinated by them today.
Oh, it's incredible. You know, these figures from ancient Sumerian,
Mhm.
Akkadian, Babylonian,
Right.
even Assyrian cultures.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how these things still resonate with us today.
Well, let's start with the basics, right? Anunnaki, even the name itself, it sounds powerful, almost otherworldly.
It really does.
So what's the story there? What does that name mean?
Well, it comes from Anu,
Okay.
the Sumerian god of the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially it translates to offspring of An.
Okay.
So immediately,
So like children of...
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
right.
Placing them high in this celestial hierarchy.
I see.
Yeah, think of it like a divine family tree,
Okay.
with Anunnaki at the top and all these other powerful deities
Okay.
branching out beneath them.
Oh, okay. So we've got a family of gods here
We do.
ruling the cosmos.
A whole family.
Were there any like
Oh, yeah.
rivalries, power struggles? You know, we see that with the Greek gods all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't just some, like, homogenous group, you know?
Right.
They had their own personalities,
Yeah.
roles.
Okay.
And definitely, yeah, they had conflicts.
Yeah.
Take
Yes.
Enlil,
Okay.
a god of air.
Mm-hmm.
He's often portrayed as
Yeah.
kind of a stern,
Okay.
even a wrathful figure,
I see.
you know? He's actually the one
Oh, wow.
who is credited with separating heaven and earth.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of gives you a sense of, you know,
Right.
just how powerful he is.
Wow. That's not a family dinner I want to be at. But, okay, so if they were such a big part of Mesopotamian religion, you'd think that we would find tons of evidence of them, right? Like archaeologically.
You would think, right.
Yeah.
But it's actually, there's surprisingly little evidence of an actual, like, unified Anunnaki cult.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems like each member had individual cults and temples dedicated to them,
Interesting. Okay.
rather than a collective worship of the whole group.
So each god had their own, like, fan club.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
But that doesn't mean we don't have, you know, insights into how they were perceived.
Okay.
I mean, the Mesopotamians left behind a lot of vivid descriptions and depictions
Okay.
that let us kind of step back in time and,
I like that.
yeah.
Okay, so paint me a picture.
Yeah?
What did these ancient Mesopotamians think their gods looked like?
Well, they were anthropomorphic, meaning they were seen as, you know, in human form,
Okay.
but with some divine, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
embellishments.
Okay.
Right. They were described as very physically imposing, radiating this
Yeah.
aura of power and majesty.
Okay.
You know, imagine these statues
Mm.
adorned with elaborate clothing, horned caps,
Okay.
and this substance called melam.
Milam.
Yeah, which imbued them with this
Ah.
terrifying splendor.
Okay, Milam. So that sounds...
It's almost mystical.
Yeah. It's not entirely clear what it was made of,
Okay,
but it was believed to be a divine substance
I see.
that clothed the gods in, you know, this brilliance.
Interesting.
And it inspired awe in the people who beheld them.
Okay.
There's even this concept of nai,
Okay.
which refers to the tingling sensation
Wow.
that humans felt when they were in the presence of a deity.
That's really interesting.
I know, it kind of brings those
Yeah.
ancient beliefs to life.
So, I mean, they weren't just statues, right?
Right.
People actually thought they were, like...
It was believed that they were embodiments of the gods themselves.
Really? Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, they were housed in elaborate temples.
Which served as their earthly dwelling.
I see.
Priests attended to their every need, you know,
Wow.
offering them food, clothing, even entertainment.
It's fascinating to me how religion and daily life were so intertwined,
I know.
you know? I've even heard about, like, you know, these elaborate processions
Yeah.
where they would, like, parade the statues of the gods through the city.
There were major events.
Oh, I bet.
You can imagine the spectacle, right?
Yeah.
Of, like, a god statue being
Right.
transported on a divine boat or a chariot,
Whoa.
accompanied by priests, musicians, and people lining the streets.
Yeah, I can just imagine it.
Just, yeah, showing reverence to this.
It really does paint a picture
Yeah.
of how central the Anunnaki were to their society, but it seems like their roles were very
Yeah. The
multifaceted, you know,
faceted, yeah.
appearing in creation stories.
Yeah. Underworld myths.
Right.
Tales of divine intervention.
Right. So which is it? Were they the good guys? the bad guys. Somewhere in between.
That's the fascinating thing about them.
Yeah.
Their roles are very fluid
Right.
and complex.
Okay.
They reflect the really
Yeah.
multifaceted nature of Mesopotamian beliefs
Okay.
about the divine, for
Right.
example.
Okay. Sure.
In the Sumerian poem, Enki and the World Order,
Mm-hmm.
they're depicted praising Enki, the god of wisdom and water,
Okay.
and dwelling among humans.
Okay.
But then you have texts like Inanna's descent into the netherworld,
Right.
where 7 Anunnaki actually appear as judges of the underworld and condemn Inanna.
So they could be good or bad,
Exactly.
depending on, I guess, what story you're looking at.
Yeah, each myth,
Okay.
each story offers a different perspective on them,
Okay.
which I think adds to their mystique.
Yeah, I agree.
It invites us to kind of explore the complexities of their characters
Right.
and their place in this Mesopotamian cosmos.
It's like trying to put together a puzzle
Yes.
where the pieces don't always fit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm sure as we get further into their story, you'll see even more of that.
We'll see how these portrayals continue to evolve
Right.
as Mesopotamian culture itself,
Yeah.
changed over time.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
it is.
Okay, so we've got these powerful kind of shape-shifting deities
Uh-huh.
everywhere in Sumerian myth,
Mm-hmm.
but Mesopotamian history is so complex,
It is.
with all these different empires rising and falling.
Right.
So what happened to the Anunnaki as those later cultures, like the Akkadians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians,
Right.
when they came on the scene?
Right.
Did they just get like a rebranding?
That's a great question. And it really kind of gets at the heart of how mythology sort of evolves alongside culture.
Right?
You know, these later Mesopotamian civilizations, they didn't just discard the old gods. They kind of absorbed them,
Okay.
adapted them
Okay.
into their own belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And the Anunnaki are a perfect example of this.
So they weren't just like these forgotten relics from some bygone era.
Not at all.
Okay.
Their stories continued to be retold and reinterpreted.
Okay.
Yeah, to reflect those
Okay.
changing cultural landscapes.
Okay. So one of the most striking things that I noticed is they seem to be increasingly associated
Oh, yeah.
with the underworld
Yes.
in these later myths.
Right.
So they went from, kind of hanging out with humans, shaping the world,
Yeah.
to like ruling the realm of the dead.
Yeah, yeah.
So what prompted that change?
Well, that's a question that scholars have debated for years,
Yeah.
Some suggest that it reflects
Okay.
this growing fascination with the afterlife
Okay.
and the mysteries of death.
Okay. So like they were really trying to
Yeah.
explore that idea more.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Others argue that,
Okay.
it was maybe a way to explain
Okay.
the forces of nature, the cycle of life and decay,
Mm-hmm.
the inevitability of human mortality,
Right. Because the underworld is where we all end up,
Exactly, yeah.
no matter, who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter your status in life.
Right. But it wasn't just the Anunnaki. Right.
Right.
I mean, there were
Oh, yeah.
other gods in these later myths.
There were a lot of
Yeah.
different deities.
Yeah. I've heard about the Igigi.
Oh, the Igigi, yeah.
How do they fit in?
Oh, they add
Oh,
such a layer of complexity to
Oh.
the divine hierarchy.
Okay.
In some texts, they're portrayed as a distinct group of younger gods,
Okay.
while in others, the terms Anunnaki and Igigi
Okay.
are almost used interchangeably.
So sometimes they're separate.
Right.
And sometimes they're
Yeah,
the same.
it can be.
Yeah, that's confusing.
It can be a little confusing, I know.
But I guess one thing that remains consistent is the hierarchy.
The hierarchy.
Yeah.
This idea of...
Like power dynamic.
Yeah, a power dynamic within the divine realm.
Right. And we see that
Exactly.
illustrated in like the Epic of Atrahasis.
Atrahasis, oh yeah.
Which tells the story of the Igigi rebelling
Yeah,
against the Anunnaki
Yeah.
because they were forced into labor.
yeah.
So basically, like
A divine
it's a
labor
fun
strike.
Labor strike.
That's amazing.
I know it's not something you hear
Yeah, that's not
any day.
right.
A common thing in myths.
Right.
So, but it is fascinating.
It's a fascinating story that highlights those tensions
Yeah.
and power struggles
Yeah.
that existed
Yeah.
even amongst the gods.
So, okay, just to like kind of recap,
Yeah.
the Igigis were basically tasked with like
Right.
digging the canals, building the cities,
Exactly. Yeah.
all the hard labor.
All the hard labor.
And after 40 days,
40 days,
they were like, nope, we're done.
they had enough.
Yeah.
They revolted.
That's great.
Yeah.
So did they overthrow the Anunnaki?
Not quite.
Okay.
Enki the wise Anunnaki god. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's the one who came up with the solution.
Okay, what was that?
Create humans
Oh.
to take over the labor.
So we owe our existence to a divine labor dispute.
According to Mesopotamian mythology.
That's pretty cool.
That's how we came into being, yeah.
It's a remarkable story.
It really is.
And it shows how
Although the Anunnaki
aren't
static
figures, you know? Their roles changed over time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They reflect these evolving beliefs and social structures.
It really is fascinating.
It is.
So they weren't just stuck in the underworld, right? They still played an active role in the lives of humans and just, I guess, the workings of the cosmos.
Absolutely. For instance, you have, like, the Epic of Gilgamesh, where you encounter these 7 Anunnaki judges who unleash this, like, fiery storm before the Great Flood.
Yeah, which it's interesting how that flood story pops up in so many different cultures.
I know, it's really fascinating.
So, how did the Anunnaki fit into, like, the Babylonian creation myth?
Right.
Enuma Elish.
Enuma Elish, right, yeah.
You know, because that's like...
Yeah, that's like
a pretty central story to Mesopotamian mythology.
Really is.
So where were they in that?
They play a crucial role in that narrative as well.
Okay.
Enuma Elish tells a story of Marduk, the patron god of Babylon, rising to power and defeating the forces of chaos. You know?
It's like a big cosmic battle.
A big cosmic battle.
Yeah.
A struggle for supremacy.
Okay, so the Anunnaki...
They're
right in the mix.
Right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Not just passive bystanders.
Okay.
No. In fact, Marduk actually reorganizes the Anunnaki after his victory.
Okay.
You know, assigning them their roles in the cosmos.
Okay.
And establishing order in the heavens and on earth.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are even texts that detail the numbers.
Okay.
Like 600 Anunnaki.
Wow.
In the underworld.
Wow.
300 in the heavens.
Like a whole divine...
Like a divine head count. I know, it's crazy.
That's wild.
It kind of gives you this picture of a highly structured and organized divine bureaucracy.
Right. It seems like the Anunnaki were just like...
They were.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
In every part.
Everywhere.
The, I guess, divine story.
Yeah.
But, of course, you know, their roles weren't always, like, without conflict or tension.
Of course not. Right.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you have the poem of Era, where the Anunnaki are actually portrayed as brothers of Nergal, the god of plague and war.
So not a good guy.
And they're depicted as antagonistic towards humans.
So they weren't always these...
Not always.
Benevolent overseers.
Right. They could be destructive.
Yeah.
As well as creative.
Okay.
Which I think, you know, reflects the kind of dualistic nature of the universe.
Okay.
The constant interplay of... opposing forces.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I guess this particular myth might be trying to explain, like... the hardships.
Exactly. Like, why are we suffering? Why
are there these calamities?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Attributing it to the capricious will of the gods.
It's so interesting how these ancient myths...
I know.
Really do reflect very human concerns.
I know. It's like looking in a mirror to the past.
And the Anunnaki story doesn't end there.
It doesn't end there.
No, we've got to talk about the Hurrians and the Hittites.
Oh, we've got to talk about the Hurrians and the Hittites, yeah.
More gods, more myths, more history. My head is spinning. But how did they incorporate the Anunnaki into their beliefs?
Well, they adapted the concept to fit their own unique worldview.
Okay.
So, for example, both the Hurrians and Hittites had myths about older primordial gods who were overthrown and banished to the underworld by a younger generation of deities.
Okay, sounds familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
And they actually linked those banished gods to the Anunnaki.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they saw them as the original powers that be.
Okay.
The rulers of a bygone era.
So the Anunnaki became like this universal symbol for the old gods.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the details are fascinating in Hurrian mythology.
Okay.
They're often called former ancient gods or gods of the earth.
Okay.
And they're consistently depicted as a group of 8.
Okay.
But their names vary.
Okay.
They were even invoked in treaties.
Wow.
And rituals to kind of add weight and authority to these oaths.
Right.
And to ensure...
So they were still very important figures.
Very important, yeah.
It's amazing how the concept of the Anunnaki
I know.
traveled across
Across
cultures and time periods.
I know, it's amazing.
But what's even more remarkable is they haven't faded away.
Not at all.
They're still with us today.
They're still with us.
Yeah.
They're in our books, our movies, even conspiracy theories.
That's right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
The conspiracy theories.
Right.
I mean, you hear everything from...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ancient astronauts?
Ancient astronauts.
To alien DNA.
Alien DNA to...
Reptilian overlords.
Reptilian overlords. So where do we even begin to unpack all this?
Well, it's important to remember that these theories are just that. They're theories.
Okay.
They're not necessarily supported
right.
by a mainstream scholarship.
Okay.
But they're definitely fascinating to explore. Yeah.
As a reflection of our ongoing fascination with the Anunnaki.
Right.
And this potential connection they have to our own origins and maybe our destinies.
Okay. So who are the big names in the Anunnaki revival?
Well, you can't talk about the Anunnaki in the 21st century without mentioning authors like Eric von Daniken and Zecharia Sitchin.
Okay. I've heard of von Daniken. He's the one who said aliens built the pyramids, right?
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. And Sitchin. What's his deal?
Well, von Daniken, he argued that many ancient cultures were influenced by extraterrestrial visitors.
Okay.
And he pointed to the Anunnaki as evidence, suggesting they were advanced beings from another planet. Sitchin took this idea even further, claiming that the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru, which he believed orbits our sun on this highly elliptical path, passing close to Earth every 3,600 years.
And what were they doing here?
Well, he argued that they came here hundreds of thousands of years ago to mine gold. And they created humans through genetic engineering to serve as their workforce.
So we're like their slaves.
Basically, yeah.
That's a bit of a different take than the
a little bit
ancient myths.
A little bit, yeah.
So do any actual like historians or archaeologists believe this stuff?
Not really, no. Most scholars dismiss these ideas as pseudoarchaeology, pointing out that they rely on selective interpretations and misinterpretations of ancient texts. They argue there's no credible evidence to support the existence of Nibiru or the notion that aliens genetically engineered humans. But despite that lack of scholarly support, these theories have captured the imaginations of
I know, I'm sure.
Millions.
Yeah, millions.
Worldwide.
People love a good mystery.
They do.
Especially
when
it rewrites history.
Rewrites history. And maybe connects us to the cosmos.
Right. But Sitchin's not the only one who gave the Anunnaki a modern makeover.
No.
I've heard about the reptilian overlords.
Oh, yeah. So tell me about that.
You're thinking of David Icke. Who's known for his kind of controversial theories about this secret race of reptilian humanoids who control the world. He actually claims that these reptilians are the Anunnaki.
Really?
Disguised as human elites.
Oh, wow.
Who manipulate events behind the scenes.
Okay, so we went from ancient Mesopotamian gods to alien gold miners to reptilian overlords.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's amazing how these ancient myths can be reinterpreted and reimagined to fit, modern anxieties and beliefs.
Yeah, it really is a testament to the staying power of these stories.
I think they continue to resonate with us because they tap into this primal fascination with the unknown. The mysteries of our origins, the forces that shape our lives.
Yeah, it's like we're looking for answers in these myths.
I think so, yeah.
To make sense of our place in the world.
I think so.
And how things work.
Yeah, and the forces that, govern our existence.
Right.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, it's mind-blowing how the Anunnakis have taken on such a life of their own.
Right.
Going from ancient Mesopotamian myth to these modern-day conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these ancient stories, often, fragmented and open to interpretation, still fuel our collective imagination.
Right. What is it about them, you think?
I think they tap into this really deep human desire
Yeah.
to understand, where we come from.
Right.
Our purpose.
Yeah.
Our connection to something.
Right. Something bigger.
Bigger than ourselves. Yeah.
It's like we're drawn to these myths because
I think so.
they offer us like a glimpse of the unknown.
Yeah. Like a possibility.
Yeah.
Of something beyond our everyday experience.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
maybe that's why the Anunnaki, with this, blend of power,
oh, yeah.
mystery, ambiguity,
right.
have resonated so strongly with people.
Yeah, I think so.
For so long,
Yeah.
we've explored their many faces.
We have so many.
The creators, the judges, the destroyers,
right.
even potential, alien engineers.
Right.
But what does it all mean?
Yeah, what can we...
Yeah, what can we learn from these ancient stories?
Yeah.
And their modern interpretations?
I think maybe one of the key takeaways is the enduring power of myth itself.
Okay.
These stories, even the ones that were created thousands of years ago, still speak to us today.
Okay.
They offer a way to grapple with complex questions about existence, about morality, about the nature of the universe.
It's like they're like a reflection.
I think they are,
of our own hopes and fears.
Yeah, our anxieties projected onto this
cosmic canvas.
This cosmic canvas, yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
So by studying these myths, we can learn not just about the people who created them, but ourselves.
But also ourselves, yeah.
So we're exploring the Anunnaki, but we're also exploring us.
Absolutely. I think these ancient stories offer a mirror to our own psyches.
Okay.
They reflect,
Okay.
Our deepest yearnings, our ongoing search for meaning in this, vast, in this crazy world.
An often unpredictable world.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful.
It is. It's not just about,
Yeah.
Decoding ancient texts or debunking conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what these stories tell us about ourselves,
Right.
And our place in the cosmos.
And I think that's a really valuable
I think so too.
lesson that the Anunnaki can teach us.
Yeah, to approach the world with a sense of curiosity.
Yeah.
To question our assumptions, to be open to the possibility that, there's always more to discover within ourselves and in the universe around us.
Yeah. Well, this deep dive has certainly opened my eyes to, the many, many, many faces of the Anunnaki.
They have a lot.
And I guess the enduring power of myth.
Yeah.
And I hope it's inspired our listeners.
I hope so.
To go out and,
Yeah, explore these stories themselves.
Yeah.
And, draw their own conclusions.
Their own conclusions, yeah.
About what it all means.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and if you are interested in learning more about the Anunnaki.
Yes.
We've got some resources in the show notes.
Check them out.
You can dive a little deeper. Into this world.
Yeah, we've got ancient texts.
Yep.
Scholarly articles, even some thought-provoking books on the subject.
So until next time.
Yeah.
Keep an open mind.
Stay curious.
Never stop questioning.
Never stop questioning.
And keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.